They replaced me in the company I built. Took my title. Took my chair. Took credit for everything I created. They erased my name from the documents. Called me too emotional to lead. But they forgot one thing. The money still flowed through me. And the day I shut it all down, the company they stole from me stopped breathing. I stood outside the conference room, invisible behind a wall of glass. Inside, the room buzzed with energy. There was catered food, new branding on the walls, and a sleek new digital presentation glowing across 3 screens. Everyone was dressed up. Everyone had a seat. Everyone except me. They called it a vision meeting. But there was no vision, just a decision. A decision they'd made without me. Danielle stood at the head of the table. My cousin. My partner, at least that's what the paperwork used to say. She was smiling, her perfectly manicured fingers dancing across her phone as she texted someone mid-presentation. She looked like she belonged there. Like she always had. I didn't. I did. Because 3 years ago, none of this even existed. There was no team, no office, no conference table. There was just me, a 7-year-old laptop, and an idea I couldn't shake. I wanted to build something real. Not for status. Not even for money. I just wanted to prove that I wasn't what they all thought I was. When I told my family I was going to start a business, they looked at me the same way you look at a stray cat scratching at your door. Confused, slightly concerned, and mostly uninterested. "You're too soft for this," my uncle said. "Are you sure you can handle the stress?" My mom asked. Danielle didn't say much back then. She smiled, offered to help. She said I could use her name to network since she knew people in marketing. I didn't mind. We were close, like sisters almost. I trusted her. I did everything myself in the beginning. I made the website. I found the first 3 clients. I pulled all-nighters juggling spreadsheets and social media calendars. Danielle handled paperwork, contracts, and client communication, which at the time meant she answered emails on her phone while watching Netflix. She didn't hustle like I did. But she looked polished and people liked her. When the money started coming in, not a lot, but enough to feel like we were real, Danielle's tone shifted. She stopped saying we and started saying I. When she talked to family, it was my company, my team, my project. I corrected her at first. Then I gave up. Until one day I noticed something strange. A new client emailed only her. About a project I pitched. Another vendor invoice came to her directly. Not the shared inbox. She said it was just for clarity. When I checked our legal registration documents, I felt my stomach turn. My name had been quietly moved to creative director. She had listed herself as founder and CEO. I confronted her. Only, carefully. She blinked and said, "Oh, didn't we agree on that? I thought you just wanted to handle the creative." Well, we never agreed. And no, I didn't just want to handle anything. That's when I knew she was making her move. I tried to bring it up with my mother. She cut me off before I could even explain. "Honey, Danielle's always been better with structure. You're more of a free spirit." I felt something inside me like a thread snapping. A week later, Danielle called for a quick update meeting with me. She told me she'd be restructuring the business. "Not firing you," she said sweetly. "Just shifting things. I need more control. Investors like clarity." She said it like she was doing me a favor. Like I should be grateful she even let me stay involved. That was the last time I let her speak to me like that. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. Instead, I got to work. See, Danielle was smart but not careful. She didn't know that when we first started, I had built all the core financial infrastructure. Every Stripe account, every invoice template, every automatic payment system. I had used my own business credentials, because back then, she didn't want the responsibility. No. That was going to cost her everything. Over the next 6 months I played the quiet game. I smiled at family dinners. I nodded in meetings. I let her bask in her little illusion. Meanwhile I downloaded everything. Client contracts, payment logs, tax returns, email threads where she claimed she was the sole founder. I started talking to a lawyer. Not to sue her. Not yet. But to prepare. Be ready. Fast forward to today. Danielle had kicked me out of the building. Unofficially, of course. I still had an office. Still had a title. But no meeting invites. No decision-making power. Nothing. Except access. She had forgotten I still controlled the bank. At that vision meeting, Danielle stood up and announced their biggest move yet. We're expanding. We just landed a huge funding deal. And next quarter we're doubling staff. Applause. People clapped like she had invented money itself. I smiled to myself. Because I knew something she didn't. This morning I had suspended the company's payment processor. Temporarily. Quietly. No employee salaries were processed. No vendor invoices paid. Danielle didn't know yet, but her assistant did. Because 30 seconds after that announcement, the assistant rushed in, pale and shaking. She whispered into Danielle's ear. Danielle's eyes flickered. She swallowed hard. "Excuse me," she said to the crowd. "There's a quick technical issue. We'll resume shortly." She stepped into the hallway and saw me. "You," she hissed. "What did you do?" I didn't answer. I just pulled out a manila folder and handed it to her. Inside were original contracts, audit trail of her editing permissions, a termination notice from the bank for attempted login under a false title. She flipped through it. Her mouth fell open. "You're sabotaging us." "No," I said. "I'm correcting the record." She looked at me like I had become a stranger. And maybe I had. Maybe betrayal changes you that way. Later that week, I sent a single email to the team. Effective immediately, all payment systems are paused pending investigation of internal fraud and misrepresentation. A new financial structure will be presented shortly, led by the original founder, me. 3 board members emailed me privately. 2 employees called to ask if they could join my side. Danielle. She disappeared for 3 weeks. Then she sent a message through her lawyer asking to negotiate terms. I didn't respond. Because here's the truth. When someone pushes you down to rise, they assume you'll stay buried. What they forget is, some people grow stronger underground. Some people wait. And when they return, they bring everything down with them. Danielle didn't lose because I was smarter. She lost because she thought I was soft. She thought I needed the spotlight. But I just needed the switchboard. And I still had it. If you like this story, don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video. 'Cause sometimes, the one they tried to cut out is the only one holding the power.